Savannah, you know, she's probably going to freak out right now because she's hungry. But I just wanted you guys to see little Savannah. Hi, say hi, Savannah. Okay, I'm going to feed her now while I make my video. I know you're hungry, so just give me a second while I got situated. Come here, baby girl. There you go. All right, so it's been a while. Oh, I know. There we go. Good. I'm going to talk a little quieter so I don't overstimulate her. Hi, everybody. It's been a while since I made a video, but I have a newborn, so she's 3.5 weeks now. It took quite some effort to get my hair done and a little bit of makeup with a newborn. Every time she's asleep, I rush to get whatever I need to get done. Hi, Mama, it's okay. Yeah. But I thought I would make this first video about my labor and her birth because I want to talk about it before, while it's still fresh in my mind and still remember it. So, as you guys might know from my posts, I had a 46-hour labor with my little Savannah. I delivered at 40 weeks, 3 days. My parents were in town, which was really nice, because it was tricky having them buy flights because they wouldn't, we obviously didn't know when she was going to come. My sister was in town too, but unfortunately she left the day that I went into labor, so she didn't get to see her, but so there's that. But anyway, so I started, I didn't have any signs of labor coming along. I was at 40 weeks and I was like, there's no signs, nothing. Oh my gosh, am I going to be one of those women that goes to 42 weeks? And all of a sudden, I live in Los Angeles. In Los Angeles, they have this place in Studio City where they have a famous salad that's supposed to send women into labor, that's supposed to induce them. Apparently it's something in the dressing, some herb. So my husband and I, after our appointment, our midwife appointment, we were like, let's go try it. I'm 40 weeks today, so let's do it. And we had it, and then that night I lost my mucus plug, which was very exciting for me because I didn't see any signs of labor coming. So losing my mucus plug was very, very exciting. And after that, let me try to think. So I lost my mucus plug. That night we go out to dinner. I'm starting to get some light contractions, not contractions, Braxton Hicks, and my parents were like, let's go out to dinner. And I was like, I don't feel like putting on makeup, or I don't feel like doing that. And finally they convinced me, so I got dolled up and I went out to dinner, and I enjoyed myself, and it was lovely. And then sure enough, it gets stronger and stronger, and I'm trying to, it was all kind of a blur. I remember we start watching How to Train a Dragon, and I'm on the yoga ball, just bouncing for hours, just trying to bring her baby girl down and try to start something. And sure enough, after we finish How to Train a Dragon, we go to bed, and I start getting contractions. And they are pretty intense. They were, from what I remember, because we had downloaded the app, to keep track of everything. From what I remember, they were about, pretty long. They were like 90, like a minute long, and with 4 minutes in between. So right out of the gate, they were pretty intense and pretty often, and it stayed like that. I didn't have one of those contractions where oh, you can still do the dishes, you can still take a shower and get yourself ready for the hospital. I didn't have that. It was pretty intense from the get-go. And it started at 11 o'clock at night, and so that night we didn't get any sleep. And then keep in mind, we've been up since it was the day, so we've been up since 7 a.m. 11 o'clock we try to go to bed, but I go into labor. So we're up that whole night. We call the midwife, and she's like, just relax and try to get some sleep in between contractions, which I'm sure you mommies know. It's impossible to try to sleep between contractions, especially how strong mine were right out of the gate. Um, and so we labor through the night, and then that afternoon, around noon, we call the midwife, and we're like, okay, they're getting pretty intense. Um, and I have to start mooing like a cow to get through them. And so she's like, okay, come on in. So we're like, all right, yeah, let's do it. We're going to the hospital. And I delivered at UCLA, and we live about 30 minutes away. So that car ride is always, has given me anxiety throughout my pregnancy. And it was pretty intense. I'm not going to lie, but my husband did a wonderful job getting us over there. So we arrive, and it's around 12:30 in the afternoon. And Stacy, my midwife, she checked me, and she was like, so you're at 2 centimeters. And, so they sent, she's like, unfortunately, like, we're going to send you home, and we want you to labor a little longer. And, that's always disheartening to hear, having the hospital send you home. Oh, she just made a big poop. Good girl. So, as you moms know, you never want to hear that. You go to the hospital and you're like, yay, like we're going to have baby, and then they send you home. And especially because I've been in labor, obviously natural, like no epidural or anything. I've been laboring at home for, at this point, 12 hours. And to hear that, I'm only 2 centimeters, it's like, dear Lord, 12 hours and I'm only at 2 centimeters? Yeah, get it out. Get that poop out. Good girl. Good girl. Yeah. Good. So we're like, okay, well, we have no choice, so let's go home, try to relax, and let's do this again. So we go home and we take maybe an hour nap. And all of a sudden, this really, really strong contraction wakes me up. Yeah. Yeah, that was you coming out, huh? That was you coming out. This really strong contraction wakes me up, and what? Oh, there it is. There's the rest of the poop. Here's the rest of the poop. Oh, it's stinky. Good girl. Good girl. I'm going to try to finish this video before she freaks out because of her dirty diaper. So we go home after 12 hours of labor. I'm only 2 centimeters dilated. And I take an hour-long nap, and all of a sudden this big contraction wakes me up. And now, like, it's like on a whole other level. And they're coming more, they're lasting longer, they're happening more often. And so around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we call over our doula, Devin, who is amazing. We call her over, and that's when it really, really got intense. I mean, my poor dad was in the living room, listening to me just not scream, because I was practicing hypnobirthing, so it's all about breathing and staying relaxed and not being scared and just embracing everything. But I did make some noises. To me, making the like the low pitch noises really helped instead of like screaming. I really made sure to focus on keeping my mouth open and keeping everything relaxed and loose. So we were on the yoga ball. We were laboring in my room, in our bedroom, on the bed. And then once it kind of got really tough, we started walking around the house. And we went inside her nursery. I wanted to go inside her nursery just to kind of get inspired and just, I'm getting teared up because I remember that moment of wanting to give up and going inside her nursery and just looking at everything with my husband. And I remember telling him, like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore, because at this point I'm almost 20 hours into labor. And going inside her nursery really helped, and standing there with my husband. are you doing? That's not a good latch. um, really helped me. So I suggest if you're laboring at home and it's really tough, go inside the nursery and you'll feel inspired. Um, and it'll give you that extra push, pun intended. Um, get back on there. There we go. Um, so anyways, so we finally, and in my bedroom, we turned off the lights, we lit candles, listening to really nice music. Um, my husband was incredible. I could not, I could not have delivered this baby without him. He was literally physically supporting me and mentally supporting me, massaging me. My doula was absolutely incredible. We hired a doula last minute, and I'm telling you, thank God we did, because she helped us so much. Not just me, but she helped my husband. And if you're thinking about getting a doula, I mean, do it. I'll do another video talking about my experience with our doula. I just want to keep this short right now since I have a newborn and I don't know how she's going to react. But we took a bath. We went inside the bath, and that helped so much. I mean, I still had obviously strong contractions in the bath, but they were a lot more tolerable with the warm water. And my husband got in the bath with me, and it was lovely. And I remember doing my hypnobirthing while I was taking baths, so it was just really nice being full circle. Like, I remember when I was pregnant and being in this bath hypnobirthing, waiting for this moment of me going into labor, and I was in that moment, and it was really special. And I didn't want to get out of the bath because I knew once I'm out of the bath, the contractions will get stronger. So I was like, all right. I was in the bath for maybe like an hour and a half. And I get out of the bath, and sure enough, they get really intense again. And that's when I get on the bed in a certain position that Devin made me get into, and I literally felt her drop. I literally thought she was going to come out I thought I was going to give birth on our bed, which I'm really down with a home birth, but that's not what we were prepared for. And so that's when Devin's like, okay, all right, I think it's time. I think, we got to go to the hospital now. So we get to the hospital around midnight. And so at this point, I've been in labor for 25 hours. 25 hours, all natural, going through my contractions without any epidural or anything like that. And we get to the hospital, and as we check in, she's asking me my questions, my water breaks, which is really exciting. So I'm like, yeah, my water broke naturally. How wonderful. Like, surely she's going to come within the next few hours, with all the contractions I've been going through at home. Like, yeah, like I'm for sure 10 centimeters. Like, let's have this baby now. My water breaks. They check me. I'm still at 2 centimeters. After 25 hours laboring for 25 hours, and my water breaking, I'm still at 2 centimeters. And when I heard that, I mean, I wanted to break down. But I didn't. I stayed strong. And now the issue was, okay, well, my water broke, so we have 24 hours to deliver this baby. And my midwife's, she's examining me, and she was like, so by the look of it, it looks like you still have another 7 to 8 hours to go. And I'm exhausted at this point because obviously the day I went into labor, I was up all day, then I was up all night, and then I was up all day again, and then now I'm up all night again. So my husband and I are just exhausted. I mean, I'm drained physically and emotionally because you have to be really emotionally strong to get through contractions. You do. Not just physically. It's half of it is in your head, But so when I hear that, I'm just like, you've got to be kidding me. And, she said 7, 8 hours, which actually turned out to be another 16 hours. So when I heard that, I mean, at this point, I feel like I'm going to faint because I haven't eaten anything either. And so I'm just exhausted. And so when I hear that I'm only 2 centimeters and I still have another 7, 8 hours to go, that's when I turn to Matt and I'm like, I'm considering having an epidural. because my whole birth plan, I wanted to do this naturally. Um, and and Matt was like, "Baby, have your epidural." He's like, "Considering, get your epidural," because at this point, Stacy said that I had maternal exhaustion, and I didn't want to faint. Obviously, like I didn't want to put my baby in danger, and so I was like, okay, I need an epidural so I can sleep because I need rest because I still have to push this baby out. I still have to dilate to 10 centimeters, and I still have to push this baby out. So I need rest for that. So they were like, okay, let's get your epidural. Um, and that the anesthesiologist could not come any faster. And I remember sitting there signing. They were throwing all these papers in my face. Sign this, sign this. I'm like, yes, just sign. Let me just sign it. In the middle of contractions, I don't even know if I signed my name. Like I just might have scribbled. Um, Good girl. And I remember the one last, like, I have to be really still when they put the epidural in. And I remember getting a contraction. I was like, oh, wait, hold on, let me get through this contraction. Um, and I was so pissed. I'm like, no, I don't want another contraction. I just want them to put the freaking epidural in me. Um, and so I remember, like, okay, this is going to be my last contraction that I feel. So I embraced it, and I got through that contraction, and I got the epidural. And I finally was able to relax, and I slept. I mean, as much as you can in a hospital because, as you know, you always have nurses, people coming in to check up on you. But I finally let my body relax and rejuvenate itself, so that really helped me. So I get that epidural around like 2 o'clock in the morning, and then they're like, okay, we're going to check up on you at 5:30 and see how you've progressed. So I get a few hours of quote-unquote sleep, um, sleep as much as you can with the adrenaline going through you, and so at 5:30 they come in, and I'm at 4 centimeters. So, which is progress, but still, we have to get this baby out soon because my water broke. Um, and so I'm like, oh, geez, 4 centimeters. I mean, it's amazing how like 2 centimeters, you just by relaxing, you get up to 2 centimeters, 2 centimeters further. But obviously, that's still not where we want to be. So, this is when they talk about bringing in Pitocin, which is, Matt and I looked at each other and we're like, you've got to be kidding me, because that is exactly the opposite of what was in our birth plan. Because I feel like if you get an epidural and then Pitocin is just, it's a snowball effect of just issues, and then you're going to end up getting a C-section. Not that there's anything wrong with C-sections, but an unnecessary C-section is what we wanted to avoid. And I was just scared that that was going to happen. And thank God I was in the amazing, amazing care of UCLA, the midwives, and because I know if I was in any other hospital, they would have seen me and like, oh, you're at 2 centimeters after 12 hours of laboring. Let's cut you open and get this baby out. But UCLA, the midwives, their motto is the baby okay? Yes. Is the mom okay? Yes. And keep going. Keep laboring. We did not feel rushed, which was lovely. And so Stacy, my midwife, comes in and she was like, listen, Angie, if you were my daughter, like, this is the thing that got me. She was like, if you were my daughter, I would do this. And so when she said that, I was like, done. So they put me on Pitocin, but they started at level 1, which was great because I feel like in any other hospital, they would put you like on the highest level right away. But they're like, let's do level 1 and see how you do. And so they get the Pitocin in me, I sleep for a few hours, or I rest for a few hours, and it's working. But then it dies back down. My contractions aren't strong yet. Like, they die back down. So then they increase me all the way to level 4. I mean, all in increments, but eventually I'm at level 4 at 9:30 in the morning. And I think I'm like at 6 centimeters or something like this by now. And so obviously it's working. And then come afternoon, I'm still on level 4 Pitocin. And come the afternoon, my contractions are getting really, really intense, and I can still feel them through the epidural, which is fine. I'm totally fine with that because I want to feel things. And that's when Shadman, my other midwife, was like, okay, let's take her off the pitocin. Let's back her off the pitocin because she doesn't need it because she's got really good contractions going now. And the nurse was like, okay, we'll take her down to level 2. And Shadman was like, no, just take her off the pitocin, which was so nice to hear that how they were just so um, in control of it. Um, I felt really taken care of, and that they really listened to my birth plan. And like I'm telling you, if you're contemplating writing a birth plan, do it. Um, because I know not you're it's not going to go everything is not going to go according to your birth plan, obviously. But I feel like with writing a birth plan, they get a sense of who you are, of what you want, and like obviously your birth is not going to go exactly as planned, but at least they get a sense of like how you want it to go in other situations. Um, so I felt really listened to. So they take me off the pitocin, and my contractions are going on their own, which is wonderful. And at this point, I start feeling more pain. They're getting really intense. Even with an epidural, I'm feeling the contractions. Obviously, not as strong, but I can feel them, and I'm getting really uncomfortable because typically, if you're not on an epidural, the best way to get through contractions is walking around, standing, trying different positions, going in the shower. But because I'm having an epidural, I'm on my back. I have to deal with contractions on my back. So I'm really uncomfortable. I keep I remember feeling really uncomfortable and complaining of like I want to get my whole pregnancy. Everyone was like, "Are you ready to have her out? Are you ready to get your baby out?" And I remember saying, "No, I love being pregnant. I'm not in any rush to get my daughter out." But at this point, I was like, "I'm ready to get her out. I'm ready to meet her." I've been in labor for over 30 hours at this point. I'm ready to get my daughter out. Um, and so I keep complaining, like, why can't I push it? Like, why can't it? And I remember because I was dilated to 10 at this point, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Hi, Mama. Yes, I'm talking about you. I'm talking about you. I'm dilated to 10 centimeters at this point, but she's not in the position yet. I believe that's what had happened, and I can start pushing, but they said if we can wait another hour for her to drop further, it'll be easier for you when you push. But because I was so uncomfortable, and I kept saying like let's go. Shadman, my midwife's okay, let's push, let's start. So 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I start pushing, and I push for 3 hours. um, yep, push for 3 hours. And even though I was on an epidural, I could still feel it. And I could feel the contractions. I couldn't feel what was happening down there. Um, and that pushing was so exhausting because I kept doing different positions within the means of being on an epidural. So I was on my back. I went on my left side. On my right side, I used the squatting bar. I used the pulling sheet. I kept going back and forth with those positions for 3 hours, and it was exhausting because you can't move your legs. You can't feel your legs, so it's hard to move them. I'm curious to know how many calories I burned. I was just exhausted. I remember getting to the point of like, I can't even keep my eyes open. My eyes were closed the whole time because I didn't have the strength to open my eyelids. And I remember them telling me, like, oh, keep your eyes open, keep your eyes open. And I remember, like, I can't keep my eyes open. I'm too tired. And what they don't tell you, like, I had no idea until I was in labor, until I was pushing, that you push with each contraction. I thought contractions stop at some point. No, they keep going. So when you get a contraction, when you're in the most pain, that's when you push. I didn't know that. So every time I got a contraction, I felt Savannah move up, and she was on my rib cage. But when you push, you have to do a crunch to get the baby out. So every time I would crunch, I thought my ribs were going to break. I thought she was going to break my ribs, and that was so painful. And pushing is really hard, especially with an epidural, because you can't feel anything. So when they tell you, okay, this is where my fingers are, push where my fingers are, and it's like, great, well, I can't feel where your fingers are. So you don't just want to push. You have to push specifically. But when on an epidural, you can't feel anything down there, so it's hard to push specifically. Um, so, so yeah, I remember her just telling me, just push as if you want to poop. Bambi, I'm making a video. My dog wants attention right now. Oh, by the way, my dogs have been so amazing with the baby. They're obsessed with her, and they follow us everywhere around the house. Every time we go in the nursery in the middle of the night, they always follow us. Every time she cries, they give her kisses. They're so protective and so loyal. Very sweet. So I remember pushing, and like it's just really disheartening because I'm not getting anywhere, And at one point, my husband, somebody said, "Oh, she's got a lot of hair," and I was like, "What?" So obviously, we're finally getting somewhere, and it was in my birth plan to use a mirror. And so Matt, my husband, was like, do you want to use the mirror right now?" And I was like, "Am I gonna be disappointed?" Because I don't want to look if I've been pushing for hours and I'm exhausted, and I look in the mirror and there's still no progress. But he was like, "No, you're not gonna be disappointed." So we used the mirror, and whoever was holding the mirror could not get it right. And so, like, talk about in the middle of a contraction, pushing and trying to tell somebody, "No, lower, to the left, to the right." Um, but finally, I see her. I see the little part of her head, and I go into beast mode. What, Mama? There you go. There you go. I go into beast mode, and I just push. And all of a sudden, people are screaming, and they're like, "Stop pushing, stop pushing." And because her head is out at this point, and they were telling me to stop. And, or her head's about to come out. And they told me to stop because, like, the midwife left. Because as you guys know, your doctor or your midwife, they're not there the whole time. They're in and out. And then, so, like, everyone kind of left because I wasn't really progressing. And all of a sudden, when I see her, I push her out, and everyone's like, hold on, stop, stop, stop." And so everyone's frantically, like, calling, like, "We need the midwife, we need this person needs to be here, this person needs to be here." And so my midwife comes in, and she's like, putting her gloves on and putting her scrubs on. And she was like, "Can't you close your legs?" And I was like, "I can't, I need to get this baby out." And so finally everyone's there. She's like, "Okay, push." And her head comes out, and she's like, "Do you want to touch her head? Feel her head." And so I felt her head, and I was like, that was just like another push, another just jolt of inspiration. And I pushed her out, and it was in my birth plan to catch my daughter, which means to pull her out myself. And she's like, "Okay, reach down, get your daughter, pull your daughter out." And so I reached down, and I pulled her out, and I put her straight to my chest. And it was the most, I mean, it was the most special thing I've ever experienced in my life, and nothing will top that feeling. My wedding day was amazing, but sorry, Matt, but that was pulling my daughter out and bringing her straight to my heart was just an experience that was just, it was out of this world. And I recommend if, you're pregnant and you want to have a vaginal birth, pull your daughter out. You can do it. You can do it. So I pulled her out and brought her straight to my chest, and she went straight for my boob. And she pooped all over herself, and she pooped all over me. And it was amazing. And I loved it. I didn't care. And I tore in 3 places. And I saw the tear happen as I was looking in the mirror, but I don't care. So yeah, after 3 hours of pushing, Savannah Maria LaRue was born. Hi, that's you. I'm talking about you. At 6:41 p.m., weighing 7 pounds and 7 ounces and 20 inches long, after 46 hours of labor, 25 hours unmedicated. I'm really proud of myself. I'm really proud of my husband. I'm really grateful for my husband and my mom and my dad and my sister and my doula. So that's my labor story. I'm sure I'm missing a lot of details, but I'm kind of multitasking right now. So that was my birth or her birth, and it was the hardest thing I've ever had to do, but I would do it all over again in a heartbeat. And you know, we're still talking about having baby number 2. Not anytime soon, but it definitely didn't scare me. You can do it. You never know. You never realize how strong you are until you have to be strong. So yeah, that was the story. I hope that that inspires you ladies. Women are amazing. Mommies are amazing. We're superheroes, and every birth is so beautiful, no matter how you go about doing it, whether it's a C-section, medicated, not medicated. It's such a miracle, and it's such a blessing, and you should be proud of yourself no matter how you deliver your baby. So yeah, she was super healthy, and yeah, my baby girl is here. She's 3.5 weeks old, and I'll make another video of how things are going, because I'm already at 30 minutes and I don't want to bore you guys. But I'll make another video of like how things are going, how life has adjusted now that I have a newborn, because it's not easy. It's really hard, but it's also really rewarding. But I really want to make another video talking about my experience, because it's been tough, and I know for me, talking to other moms, venting with other moms, and listening to other moms' experiences has really helped me get through this. So I want to make a video sharing my experience, and maybe it'll help another mom. So yeah, that's Savannah's birth story. I'm gonna unlatch her. I'm gonna show you guys Savannah one last time. Sorry, baby girl. Sorry, baby girl. I know you're not done eating. I know. Oh, there we go. Oh, she's like, I don't want to be on camera. Oh, look how beautiful you are. Hi. I love you. She's like, where's the boob? Where's the boob? Alright, bye guys. Thanks for watching. She's like, what is happening? A minute ago, I was on the boob, and now oh, she's rooting. She wants my boob.
Baby girl, don't cry. Just close your pretty eyes. Mama's gonna sing me